Sometimes you come across a treasure trove of awesomeness, and today is one of those days. We've come across a Nintendo of Japan website that's been designed to celebrate Zelda 1, Zelda 2, and Link's Awakening, all for the upcoming Zelda Game & Watch that's coming out. But they've created individual websites for all three of these games that go through all the retro art from the manuals, from the advertisements, and in some cases recreated art in the same style, for these websites to celebrate the upcoming release. And so today, we're going to take a little stroll down memory lane, take a look at the retro art from the Nintendo of Japan website to celebrate these three legendary, no pun intended, games. So the first game we're going to talk about is going to be The Legend of Zelda, or just simply Zelda 1 on the NES here. As we scroll down, we've all seen this picture of Link. That's a pretty common one from that era. But the background, look at that background. My gosh, that is a perfect landscape picture of Hyrule. I mean, you got the beaches, you got the sunset in the background, you got all the different, environments of Hyrule included in one little picture. I mean, that's just a great representation of Hyrule from this original era of Zelda back in the 80s. Now, as you scroll down the website, obviously we're gonna have stuff from the actual games here, like the story, some screenshots and such as that. But we're here for mainly the retro art. As you scroll down, they got some new drawings in the same retro style, which is pretty cool as well because it's still capturing that same essence as the 80s. So we got Link here, telling about who Link is. We got, of course, the items that you're going to use, such as the sword, the bow and arrow, and the shield. All that is showcased. We have our main characters in the game. We of course have Princess Zelda, Link, Impa, the nurse. She didn't have a nurse. Nanny. But as you scroll further down, you can see the artwork for the original items in the game, and you can obviously some of this has been redrawn, but it's the same style as that 80s Zelda. As you scroll a bit further down, of course, we have pictures of the I presume the merchant. No. Grandfathers, grandmothers, and merchants in the caves. Wow, I had no idea Link's grandfather and grandmother were in the game, and I had no idea they were hiding out in caves. And of course, as you scroll a little bit further down, it's going to have all the monsters inside the game as well. Now, these are not redrawn. These are directly from the manual of the 1980s. And forgive me for not knowing all the enemies of the first Zelda. But I mean, the pictures here are fantastic. And you can see the representation of the game versus what it was like in the manual. And man, the artwork on this is just absolutely fantastic. Because I love the art style from the manuals of those old NES games, and Zelda was no exception from this. And so you have all the different monsters from the Zelda games, and good lord, that is one veiny hand. I guess all those white dots were supposed to be veins in the original. That's weird. And of course over here we have a small demon that lives underground, uses a boomerang. It's weird because growing up I actually thought that this little fella here, I thought he had a mustache. I did not know that was just white on the little rat's chin there. I had no idea. But that's really cool to sort of see some of that brought to life. And of course down here, we just have some original artwork from that time period. And it's got different hints and whatnot. We'll go back to the first hint and sort of go through them. And the imagery here, it is just such beautiful pictures from the Zelda time period of Zelda 1. And granted, I don't know the background story on all of these, and some of it is explained in the text down below, and I'll leave a link to this website down in the description if you want to check it out on your own. But the pictures here, the artwork, it's just so fantastic to take that trip down memory lane and actually see some of the pictures that we might have missed when we were kids. And so, I guess that is Ganon up there. That is a wicked looking picture there. That is awesome looking. And of course, as you scroll down, it tells you which games are next. So let's move on to Zelda 2. Now, Zelda 2 artwork was actually the one I have more fond memories of as a kid. Man, I looked for the manual of Zelda 2 so many times as a kid. I actually tried to draw some of the pictures in Zelda 2. Not well, but I did try to draw them. But as we look here, of course, we have a picture of Link from that time period. And of course, we have, once again, an amazing Hyrule background right there behind him. Obviously, Zelda 2 took a little bit of a darker tone, as you can see specifically in that picture right there. I mean, just look at that tree. Dark. But as you scroll down here, of course, it goes into the story of the game. And Zelda 2's story was actually far more developed than Zelda 1 when it came to the manual. The Zelda 2 storyline was actually a pretty decent story that was laid out inside the manual. It wasn't in the game itself because a lot of games didn't do the story at the time inside the game. It was all done inside the manual. And Zelda 2 was great when it came to that. And all of this artwork I know is directly from the manual, because, man, I love that manual for that game, and I looked through it so many times as a kid. But that picture right there, I always thought that was like one of the best Zelda pictures of all, that ever came around, because there's so much destruction coming into Hyrule as the moblins raid into the area to attack the people. And of course, we have, when Impa, of course, showing Link, he's got the Triforce power as they go along. And what's happened to Princess Zelda? She's fallen to a deep slumber, like Sleeping Beauty here. And of course, that's how the game starts off. You can see the picture in the background there as well. And of course, Hyrule not knowing what to do when it comes to this. I'm not going to go through the whole story. We're more here for the pictures. But you can see the sorcerer there in the background. I mean, and how, how much evil is coming through the land here. And of course, what he's done to Princess Zelda. I mean, it's just a fantastic, the artwork here. Oh my gosh. This was my favorite picture from the Zelda 2. I love that picture from the second palace when you're attacking that knight whose head would come off and shoot the fireballs at you. Obviously, it was a little less exciting in the game itself, but man, this picture brought to life so much, and I love that. That was a good picture too. That was man, like that's what I mean. Like Zelda 2 just had the absolute best artwork of any of the Zelda games, and I love that they put it all on this website for us to go through and pretty much examine at any time. And as we scroll down here, of course, it's going to go through a map of Hyrule, and I always like that little map there. I know it's way more simple than the one we looked at from Zelda 1, but it's got a very abstract style to it. I've always thought it was really cool, and I always like the palaces. And you got, a little animation of Link here coming through. It looks like one of the palaces where you put the emeralds in at the close. And I like how in the background you have a little animation going of the villages. I mean, I'd actually say the Zelda 2 website is better than the Zelda 1 website to me on here so far. I got a little picture that was also from the manual. See, none of these are redrawn like the Zelda 1. All of this is completely original from the manuals. That was from the manuals. We're talking about different items you can have throughout the game. How your attacks work. Your magic. All of that, man. This is bringing back some great memories here. I mean, this is just such a cool website. All right, the monsters in the game. It's sort of starting us in the middle. Can we go back to the beginning, or is it just I guess it's just an ever-going slideshow, isn't it? So we'll just start here. That looks like the same rat from Zelda 1. Obviously, I would have never, ever guessed that was the same creature from Zelda 1. Clearly, it most certainly is, though. The one with the little mustache from earlier. We got the Moblins. Once again, I'm not going to know all these guys' names, but it's just so cool to see this art style being brought to life. I'm going to call him the Red Flea. We got the eagle. Man, so many cool animations here. I mean, look at that guy. Like, good Lord. So much great animation. Oh, yeah. Look at that. Now, that guy looks like he could be straight out of Zelda, or if you made him a little more cartoony, straight out of Mega Man as you go. That doesn't even look like a bad guy. This looks like an obstacle. Then we got the skeleton warriors. Oh, man. Those inside the castle. This got me wanting to play Zelda 2 all over again. And honest, Zelda 2 is one of my all-time favorite Zelda games. I can't help it. Everything's great about it. And so if you want to figure out why, I got like another video about it. I'll put a link to that in the description as well. But, man, just look at all of these great enemies. What is that? I don't remember that fella. That looks like an evil Togepi. Huh, that's fascinating. And we're back to the beginning on there as we scroll down. And of course, that leads us into our final game to look at, which is going to be Link's Awakening. Now, Link's Awakening is also my favorite Zelda games, and of course, I had it on a Game Boy back in the day, and I put so many hours into it. And the remake was really good too, but the original, man, the art style of that original, and what was in the manual, fantastic. You just can't beat it on there. And of course, we have a picture here of the windfish egg, Marin over there, Hoot Hoot the owl, obviously Link in the center. Just, the direct scene from what the game was all about, that island and tropical environment. Such a really cool scene as you go down through here. And of course, the lights shining through on the windfish egg in the background, Marin finding Link on the beach. Just a great art style to, get the game going there. Of course, we got Hoot Hoot the owl. I don't know if that's his real name. I've always called him Hoot Hoot. And of course, oh man, that's a cool looking picture of the island itself. I don't think I've ever seen that one there. We got the different dungeons on here. Obviously the windfish egg. Oh, there's a Turtle Castle or Turtle Rock in the background. That was also one of the dungeons in the game. This is just a really cool representation of the environment there. I've never seen that picture from Link's Awakening. And of course, once again, we got the scrolling here because they got to represent the game as we go. But of course, we scroll down a little bit. We got some artwork from Link and Marin there. And man, his name escapes me. I'll admit it. I can't remember at the moment. I think it was like Tarin, something like that. I could be wrong. I'm not positive on that. Feel free to comment down below if you remember what his name is. But as we scroll down here, of course, we have more pictures directly from the manuals themselves of all different links, different moves you can do inside the game. And I know that's from the manual because I had the manual growing up. As we scroll down, is going to get to the enemies. Let's see, we got a little treasure chest down there. Oh, that's a cool way of doing it. There's so many different items. They're just simply scrolling across. Oh, the top part is scrolling across the items you can get in the game. And the bottom part is scrolling across the trade elements. No, they're items as well. Scratch that. These are all items in the game. Well, I know that Yoshi doll that just went around the screen there. It's come back around. I know that was a trade item in the game. And that is one of the best trade progressions of any of the Zelda games. I know it started in the Link to the Past, but Link's Awakening did a fantastic job with that trade element. As we scroll down, we're going to get the enemies. I didn't get the enemies. That's okay, though. I guess we had enough enemies in the other two games. But honestly, Nintendo of Japan has created an amazing Zelda website to celebrate its 35th anniversary. Takes you down memory lane of all the retro pictures, all the stuff from the manuals, all the style from the original games. And I highly recommend going and take a look at these websites. There's a lot of cool stuff on there. You can finally read through some of the story, get caught up on that, see what some of the items are about. And honestly, it's got me pretty pumped for that Game & Watch that's coming out in the next couple of weeks. And I do plan to open mine. It's not going to stay stuck in a box because I actually want to use the alarm clock. And I'm actually pretty excited for that Game & Watch. I didn't actually buy the Mario one. I like Mario, but obviously the Zelda one has a more special spot in my heart when it comes to that. But if you enjoyed the video, be sure to like and subscribe to the channel. As always, go out there, find a great game to play, and just simply have a great rest of the day.